early March, and the villagers of Yamakoshi are holding their annual fire festival, Koshi no Himatsuri. The centrepiece of the festival is a 25-metre high sai no kami, or bonfire, made of straw and thatched grass. The belief is that burning it will bring good health and bumper crops the following season. Visitors place personal messages inside the walls of the sai no kami. The weather, however, is far from spring-like, with fresh snow adorning the outside of the bonfire, and people standing around log fires to keep warm. At the allotted time, the bonfire is lit, an impressive firework display takes place. On a clear blue day, the mountains look quite breathtaking. The sun melting the recently fallen snow that clings to the bare branches of trees into a shower of water droplets. However, the weather can change rapidly, dashing all thoughts of springtime. Winter is still here, of that there is no doubt. The mud ponds of the valley below the village of Mushigame remain buried beneath several metres of snow, and with fresh snow falling regularly, they will stay that way for some time to come. And for breeders like Shigeo Tanaka of Maraju Koi Farm, the daily task of clearing an access path to the farm's Tosai house will continue. This is the Tosai house of Urakawa Koi Farm, more commonly known as Torazo. Like most breeders, its Tosai are maintained in heated water to provide them with the optimum opportunity for growth through the winter season. As you can see, they certainly have a voracious appetite for food, and are at this time around 30 centimetres in size and just 9 months old. We will see more of Torazo later in this programme. Six weeks on, and winter and its snow have lost the battle to spring. The mountains are changing apace and bursting into life. These are the jumbo Tosei of Shintaro Koi Farm, now averaging around 35 cm in length. Like many of Niigata's breeders, household names to koi keepers around the world, Saito-san is essentially a one-man band, no full-time staff, just him, his wife, and sometimes his son to count on for assistance. A few days later, Saito-san was undertaking one of the final selections of the jumbo Tosei seen previously. On this occasion, his youngest of two sons, Kosuke, home from university for Golden Week, was on hand to assist. With the pond netted, Saito-san sorts through each koi, checking the vent to verify the sex of the koi. Although, at this stage, there are some that he cannot be 100% sure about, but have enough quality to be retained in the hope that they are female upon harvest. A bowl of Shintaro high-class Tategoi Sankei, as well as one shower. Saito-san breeds all three Go Sankei varieties, a fact that makes him quite unusual. Not too many breeders breed all three varieties, and only those three. You won't find any metallic or Kawari Goi, for example, at Shintaro Koi Farm. Saito-san first narrowed the selection down to these 14 koi, averaging around 35 centimeters. After further consideration, he narrowed it down to, at this time, these being his 6 best Tategoi. These 6 perhaps his next 6 best Tategoi. Like many breeders, ask them to name their number one tattagoi and you'll get far from a simple answer. You'll often hear, I have many number one. At just 10 months old, these koi are still young and there is so much can change between now and when harvested as Nisai. An adjacent pond of Tosai was also netted, this containing more tattagoi, but ones that were smaller in size, around 28 to 30 centimetres. This Sankei is one that Saito-san particularly liked, and, despite being only 30 centimetres in length, he suggested that maybe this was the number one. The interesting Benny pattern, nice sumi placement, and excellent delicate skin quality all contributing factors. This excellent Maritan Sanden Kohaku was also in the same pond and around 28 centimetres in size. These two relatively small mud ponds will house Shintaro's best Aka Nisai, meaning those koi that will be Nisai when harvested, the Tosai we've seen already. Only 10 to 12 koi will be placed in each pond at the end of May. In the distance you can see Shintaro's number one mud pond, the pond where his best 3-year and older koi are placed. Many inhabitants spent their first mud pond summer in the two smaller ponds. A sure sign of the arrival of spring in Japan is the cherry blossom or sakura. Much celebrated across the country and symbolised in many ways in Japanese culture, the blossoms likened to clouds for the way they bloom en masse, and the ephemeral nature of the blossoms likened to the mortality of life itself. As much as the sakura is symbolic of the arrival of spring, its life is so short that it is over before the last snow of winter has melted. This large mud pond, with its impressive view far beyond the valley of the Shinano River, belongs to Marado Koi Farm, and as early as the last weekend of April is already home to some of the farm's best jumbo koi, which can clearly be seen drifting under the surface and picking at the bottom of the pond on this breezy spring day. Over the coming weeks, the many hundreds of mud ponds that spread over the mountains of Niigata will become filled with beautiful nishigoi, their home for the summer. These are some of the many mud ponds that the Genji Koi farm have in and around Mushigame village, where their farm is based. One of the things that makes the mountains so beautiful throughout the summer is the lush vegetation that grows, including many different trees, which put on a wonderful display of colour in autumn. As you can see, one of the downsides is that many of the leaves that fall from the trees end up in and around the mud ponds. One early Sunday morning, Daisuke Ishihara was busy clearing the debris from the mud pond before it can be put to use. Given the number of mud ponds that the Genji have in this area, not an inconsiderable amount of work. Daisuke, like many breeders, is assisted with the day-to-day tasks by his wife, here clearing the drainage gullies that keep fresh water running into and out of the mud ponds throughout the summer. All over the mountains, work is underway preparing for the forthcoming summer season, whether large-scale repair or expansion of ponds, treating ponds to remove early growth of weed, or simply filling them with fresh mountain water. Ikarashi Kazuto is without question one of the premier Niigata breeders. His Go Sankei stock is simply breathtaking. This pond, in the heart of the valley of Mushigame, is one of his main Nisei Kahaku ponds, and him and his wife are busy preparing it for the stocks that will be placed in it shortly. We will see more of Ikarashi Kazuto's koi in a later program.